All right, the red light is on. What's up, guys? David Van Auken here with Fight Bananas. So excited. Finally going back and forth. We can start. First time ever. Hopefully a weekly thing going on. Maybe around 15, 16 years. We'll get to that. We'll get to a really solid relationship. Talking about the one and only Ashlee Rebel Girl Evans-Smith. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I know you are 3 hours ahead over there. So it's about 1 o'clock. I'm having a good day, just doing lots of media stuff. This is actually my second interview of the day.
There you go.
But I'm really excited to start this relationship. I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, we can't wait. And we're 3 hours ahead of you. There's still no Facebook and Instagram. The world has come to an end right now.
I know, it's kind of crazy. I actually am just doing real life stuff,
Right.
I guess I'll do the laundry or whatever from staying off of social media.
Yeah, I'm gonna become a better dad and maybe read a book tonight if we don't get it back. So we'll see. Good stuff's gonna happen. But
yeah,
all right. So this is mainly about you. I love it. Love the podcast. Love the show. So first and foremost, it's great. There's so many podcasts nowadays, and a lot, especially in the MMA space and with fighters, and they're doing their stuff. But yours pops. I don't know if you've heard this or other people tell you. Look at that smile. I love it. You just connect with with the people and then who you're talking to. And let's just be honest. It's like you talk about stuff that some people don't like to talk about almost out there in the world. So it's awesome. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm probably listening around 40, 45 episodes. I can't get enough. It's a great, great show.
Have you really listened to 40, 45 episodes?
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, I honestly feel like that's the biggest compliment you can give me at this point. I put so much work and time into it. And I know it may not seem like it, but it's a really big part of my life right now since I am on the bench. And I do truly love it. I love everything about it, from creating the episode segments to booking the guests to interviewing the guests, trying to make the questions interesting, trying to relate to the guest on a higher level, not just about, how's your weight cut going or what's the game plan look like, something that's sometimes very hard to get to even on a friendship level, let alone in a 45 1 hour time frame.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess we'll kind of start there. Like when I first did it, I was like, yeah, I'll do it as a hobby. I like it. It'd be cool to talk to people, whatever. And what you just kind of said, like, I love it. Like I caught the bug. In professional wrestling, they say that like you catch the bug, you just want to keep on doing it. And I embraced myself into this world now, and I'm doing it multiple days and with multiple different people and multiple different streams. It's just like, I just love it. I love connecting and finding out new stuff and learning stuff. What was that first moment? What was the light bulb moment for you, Ash, to be like, wow, I want to do a podcast? And not even that, just a podcast. Like, I want to talk about sex and violence.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't one specific moment that was like, I'm going to do a podcast. It was just, I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I had light bulb moments listening to podcasts. Yeah. I am 2 years sober. The light bulb moment with my sobriety was from a podcast. I was listening to a fellow MMA fighter who got sober, kicked the bottle, kicked the booze, and how much they were thriving. And I got inspired. Wow. After that, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and kind of the podcast that got me intrigued about sex podcasts, dating, relationships, and all that. And that's called Guys We Fucked. That is two comedian females who talk about their past relationships and all that. And when I was listening to that podcast, I was learning things. I was learning things about my body as a 30-something-year-old woman. I was like, whoa, I didn't know that. So podcasts, in those moments building, not only did they inspire me to be a better person, entertain me, but also educated me. And I'm like, whoa, this type of medium is revolutionary, really. It's like you're connecting different people on a one-on-one level all across the world. So I thought maybe I could do it. Maybe I can use this downtime while I'm healing from my injury to become a podcaster and connect with people.
Totally agree. And it's awesome. I love, like, once in a while, because you don't want to be such result based. I think that's just a bad way to live in almost anything. But once in a while, like, you look at the downloads, you look at stuff, and it's like, wow, like people from Alaska and like Australia, like there's thousands of people of Australians listening. And it's like, that's awesome, from just a little guy from Florida. But all right, let's get into episode 68. I was in Game Bred Fighting Championship, Biloxi, Mississippi. It was maybe around 2:30 a.m. and maybe a couple drinks and a couple party stuff was going on. But I did listen to the Steffi episode and I loved it. Like she was definitely, I think, more reserved than other guests on the show. Like one of our dear friends, both of us, Taylor Starlin, who's not reserved, which we love about her. But you can tell like the 20-minute and the 30-minute, 35, she was really starting to like open to you and get, kind of just really connect with you. So for one, how'd you think that episode went? And what was like your favorite moment of the Steffi episode?
Yeah. And, I think I try to do a decent job of structuring the format of the show to kind of shoot the shit, talk about fighting, talk about their dating status, where they're at in the moment, give them a little bit of my personal life. So that makes them feel a little bit comfortable. Like, hey, you're going to open up, I'll open up too. And then maybe at the 30, 45-minute mark, that's when I start asking about sex and what they like in the bedroom and stuff like that. And you get one guest who starts to shell up, and I have a plan for that. And then you get these other guests like Taylor Starling, who's awesome and was just like, fuck it, let's talk about buttholes. Yeah. And it's so funny because sex and relationships and dating, it's very taboo to talk about, but it's something that we all do. We all participate in for the most part, right? Some people have more sex than others, or some people are more monogamous than others, or some people are polyamorous. It's a crazy, interesting, exciting world. And I try not to kink shame and I try not to judge. I'm just here to educate and to promote being yourself, whatever that is. So with Steffi, when she came on, what an amazing, powerful woman, right? A 25-time world record-holding powerlifter transition into professional boxer. That in itself is awesome. But then you hear some of her background stories about how she's gotten to where she's at, and her dating scenarios along the way. And you realize every successful person has some sort of relationship, dating, embarrassing story that also happened to them while they were rising to their success. And Steffi is no different. Amazing woman who is just very educated as well as strong and beautiful aesthetically. So the episode went great. I was very surprised. Her and I also connected on a personal level, which I love. That's definitely my goal. I'm not always going to see eye to eye with every guest, but I try to, find something that we have in common and then talk about that, or play devil's advocate, which I've done a couple times in my podcast, and, try and see things from their point of view. And Steffi, she's just an amazing human. You got to check it out. She opens up about being Venezuelan and Jewish and having her mother kind of almost dictate her dating life in her early years. She's now engaged to her business partner, Hayden, who is very interesting and inspiring in himself. So I won't talk anymore about Steffi Cohen's episode, but you should check it out. Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl, episode 68 with Steffi Cohen.
Absolutely. They got to download. They got to subscribe, because that dinner story was crazy. Like, as a guy, I'm like, dude, the dinner story, I was like.
You mean her first date that her mom set her up on, the date from hell?
Yeah. It was awful. Like, so bad. It was like nails on a chalkboard through the, iPhone that I was listening to. Okay, last thing, when we'll let you go, we'll let you run. One thing you were saying, and you were like, hey, I have a plan for that. I probably done, I think this is around, just throwing out, it's in the round 450. I'm in the 500 podcast world. I've done so many different ones and a couple different brands and stages of that sort. And I used to have like a paper, and I still do right here, right? I got like a paper. I have something, but I used to have like minute by minute and like 15-minute stuff and permanent black marker on some things. And now the more and more I do it, I'm like, no, I got some pinpoints. I got, punk rock. I got podcast light bulb. I got some things here, but like the best organic stuff is organic and it just naturally happens. So when you say you have a plan, is it kind of to go back and, sphere her back in where you want to go and have it more organic? Or do you have a legitimate like MapQuest plan of what kind of stuff you want to go to?
Yeah. So, I understand that it's not easy for everyone to talk about sex or relationships, that kind of thing. Primarily sex. Sex is hard to talk about because it's just not talked about in society. So when I say I have a plan to help the guests talk about their sex life, if they even can't vocalize the words, I mean that I've created a segment called the Lightning Sex Round. So if I'm interviewing a guest and they start to shell up every time I mention the word sex, or, you know, if I start to pry a little bit and dig and they start to pull back, that's time for the lightning sex round. And a lightning sex round is a 14 question rapid fire segment where I just ask them one word or one question. For example, do you like to be spanked in bed? And
Yes.
instead of having to say the words, I like to be spanked in bed, they just say yes, or they say no, and it allows them to talk about their sex lives without actually having to say the words. So that's what I mean by a plan. And I also do this thing that maybe is against podcast unwritten rules, right? Like, it's podcasting is supposed to be this organic, off the cuff, unscripted conversation between two or more people. So they say, but I don't fucking care. I mean, rebel girl, right? I really look out for my guests. I care about their feelings, and I'm so honored that they give me their time and they put their personal lives out there like that, because I'm trying to inspire and advocate for equality, not dig for dirt and talk like who's sleeping with who. Yeah, like that's not what it's about. So beforehand, I have a pre-episode call with every guest. I say, hey, what do you want to talk about? What's off the table? And that's very important to me. It's very important to me that my guests and my audience know that this is not a trash talk. This is not Howard Stern taking you, out of nowhere and making you uncomfortable. So that's what I mean when I say I've got a plan. I've got notes and stuff like that, but I tend to over prepare a lot because I love what I do. And I think that preparation is the definition of confidence.
I love it. I love it. I cannot wait. Week after week, we'll get more into, like I said, this was just the debut, and I really wanted you to connect with our people about the podcast and your stuff. And next week, maybe we'll do, like I said, if a ring girl, what do they wear? Or what person, wow, they got a new tattoo. And everyone was talking about Tracy Cortez's ring, and because with the Brian Ortega picture. So there was,
are they engaged?
It was wild because in Brian Ortega's picture right before the Volkanovski's fight, she's hugging him and she has a big diamond ring on her finger. And the MMA world went a buzz that we haven't heard anything more, but it was something. So there you go, just something like that, something so organic. Last little thing, next episode's episode 69. Did that come anything to play? Did you ever think, all right, guys, episode 69? Did that come anything, or was it no, like kind of just slipped by?
No, I mean, so unfortunately, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I had 2 guests have to cancel, and that happens, right? But for us, for you and I, the podcasters, the hosts, it really takes the wind out of our sails just a little bit, because there is an algorithm. There's something to consistency, right? And the more consistent you are, the better the podcast or the training or whatever it is, right? So a little wind was taken out of my sails. I had 2 guests, one get COVID and one have to cancel last minute. And so before the cancellation, I strategically had Abigail Mack as a guest for that, because her episode was right before Steffi Cohen's, and Abigail is in the top 1% of OnlyFans earners. She was the 2020 Female Performer of the Year for the adult entertainment film industry. Right. So we talked about 69, we talked about 89, all the nines. We talked about it all. And I mean, face farting and just all this crazy stuff. So that was my plan, but shit doesn't always go as planned, like in fights. So you got to adapt. But episode 69, we got Bazooka Joe, the 2014 Glory kickboxing welterweight champion. Vadalini, Bazooka Joe. What a stud. I'm super excited to have him on. Maybe I'll ask him his thoughts on 69. I don't know.
There you go. That's an icebreaker. Guys, make sure you shop at sexviolenceWithRebelGirl.com. Say that 5 times fast. Actually, we are so pumped. We're so happy to start our relationship, and we can't wait. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll keep it rolling.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, 5 Bananas. Thank you, all the fans. Bye-bye.
Later.
Dang. That was